Good. You can hear me now, yeah?
Yeah.
That's an excellent start. So that gets that energy flowing now, so people can hear me. So yeah, just to remind people really what OneQi is about. I guess the way I'm thinking about it is to make Qigong understandable, applicable, and accessible. That's what this kind of collaboration is about, really. I remember when I first came across these kind of practices, I had a very typical kind of Western mind. It thought a lot. It thought a lot, it classified, it categorized. I was very cortex heavy, shall we say. And so I used to hear lots of things about Taoism and Buddhism and Zen Buddhism and energy practices. And my cortex got very busy with that stuff. And I thought about it a lot. Yeah, I thought about practicing. Yeah, I thought that might be quite a good idea. And I thought about what it might mean. And for me, it just seemed incredibly complicated. Yeah, I remember at the time thinking, oh my God, I don't really understand what these people are talking about, but it sounds quite cool. And then I remember standing on the edge of the Sedona Desert, not being in a particularly good state at the time, really, and just practicing, well, actually not practicing anything, just not doing anything, just kind of standing there. And all of a sudden starting to have these very odd experiences, starting to feel like ants were crawling inside my body, yeah? And I remember just giggling, yeah? And there wasn't anything to understand at all, actually. It was like, oh, this is really cool. I'm really enjoying this. But those two things, all the stuff that I'd ever read or heard about, seemed to have no connection. I didn't make the connection, actually. It was just a very cool experience. And so I remember just practicing Wuji. I thought, well, I'll just stand then. I'll just stand and won't do anything every day for a year and see what happens. And it was great, actually. All kinds of strange things started to happen, which now, I mean, so I'm a psychotherapist as well. So I deal a lot with trauma work a lot in psychiatric hospitals, and I've looked at all kinds of healing modalities, Western healing modalities. Now can kind of see some of the things that were going on in me, yeah? As my stability increased and my energy started to flow, so processes in my brain and other parts of my body were starting to shift. I don't really like to think of it as transforming, but processes were changing for the better. And without me really having to do anything, over a period of about a year, my mind and my body got a lot better. Yeah. I still didn't make any real connection with all this stuff all these Chinese and Indian people had been talking about, because they talked in ways that made sense in kind of ancient China and ancient India, which was cool, but they didn't really make any sense to me. They sounded great. And then I met a man called Grandmaster OneQi Kit, and Chinese Malaysian Grandmaster. And I remember after about a day with him, it was like, okay, thank you very much. You've joined it all up for me now. All of that stuff that I didn't understand before, and all of the stuff that had been practically working for me now made sense, yeah? And that's something, I guess, over the last 25 years, I've been practicing before, but over the last 25 years, I've been beginning just to both practice, but come to a kind of experiential understanding of what was going on. So to short circuit all of that so that other people don't have to go through that whole process, from my perspective, OneQi is a great way of us sharing things that make Qigong kind of practically understandable in everyday terms. Yeah. And also then applicable. You know, there are many things that you can use energy skills for. In the main, I mean, there are people that, and we teach them that they go off on very interesting kind of energetic and spiritual paths. But fundamentally, in my experience, most people want to be healthy and happy. Yeah, that's what they want in kind of everyday terms. Yeah, healthy. And if I'm healthy and happy, then I can be playful and curious. Yeah, if that's not there, then it's a bit tough to be playful and curious and do all of the other things. So fundamentally for me, and I guess all of the people that you know are part of the OneQi collaboration, Qigong is fundamentally skills in using energy, and there's all kinds of skills and there's all kind of ways, but for us it comes down to fundamentally being able to generate an energy flow. Yeah, all of the other skills are, if you like, the kinds of things that you might do with a hose. Yeah, all kinds of things you can do with a hose, but fundamentally, in order to make a hose useful, you got to actually have water flowing through it. Yeah, otherwise it's just an empty tube that you're waving around looking like you're doing things. Yeah, so from my perspective, and I guess you know most of the other people here, the fundamental skill is about, if you like, turning the tap on, being able to turn the tap on, being able to regulate the energy flow, get energy flowing more. Now that can sound quite esoteric, I guess, to some people who don't believe in energy, but there isn't really anything to believe in. There's no dichotomy or conflict with kind of modern Western medicine now. We understand a lot about collagen substances, fascia and that kind of stuff, and that we know there are piezoelectric currents that are flowing through our bones and our fascia. Yeah, so there's no conflict there. We know there are electromagnetic fields occurring in all kinds of structures. Yeah, so even at that level, there's no conflict. Yeah, the trick really for us is to get energy flowing in a way that's useful. And once you can get energy flowing, then there's a whole myriad of ways you can use that energy. You can use that energy to clear out or transform unhelpful processes. Some people think of it as like clearing blockages, or you can think of it as transforming unhelpful processes. Or you can use it to build energy, which is to increase the quantity of energy that you have available. In everyday language, you can think of that in terms of vitality. Yeah, just the energy to do the things that I want to do. And then you can use it to nourish, yeah, or improve the quality of the energy. Yeah. And then there's a whole load of other amazing things that you can do: bone marrow cleansing, senior metamorphosis, small universe, merging with the cosmos, or even merging with the carpet, actually, if you got the right kind of clothes on. But fundamentally, it comes down to generating an energy flow. And in my and that's generating an energy flow is mainly about not doing the things that stop energy flowing well. If you stop doing all the things that stop energy flowing well, energy just kind of flows quite well. The human race has kind of got along fairly well without knowing consciously too much. You know, it's just kind of happened, doesn't it? Yeah. Still, fetuses form through, you know, collections of cells, and these amazing things then occur. Stem cells start deciding what it is they're going to be doing. Yeah. There's no understanding or consciousness required in that. You just got to not get in its way. Yeah? And that's where the fundamentals of Qigong are for me, is helping people to get to that point where, okay, well, what are the things that get in the way of energy flowing well, and stop doing those. Yeah. So that can be so that can be applicable in kind of everyday life. Yeah, once you begin to learn to do those things less, that's applicable in just everyday life. But also, if you like, it powers your Qigong practice. Yeah. So what Nicola was doing there, the more skill you have in already being able to generate an energy flow or not get in the way of energy flow, the more you're going to get out of the things that Nicola was doing there. Yeah. So what are the things that get in the way? Well, one of the things that gets in the way is unnecessary tension. And it's mainly actually unnecessary tension. So that might be unnecessary tension at the physical level, or it might be unnecessary tension at the mental level. So when we're teaching at the beginnings of people who are starting out, the first thing that we're doing is trying to help them to understand what that means. What does it mean? Yeah. The absence of unnecessary tension. All of those words are important. Yeah. Absence, unnecessary, and tension are all important. So I know you guys will all know this, but for the people who maybe haven't done too much, if you get your hands like that, yeah, then you can just feel that now. Yeah. Now most people, yeah, will grab on a little bit tighter than is absolutely necessary to keep that form in place. Yeah. There is now unnecessary tension there. Yeah. But equally, we don't want to collapse the form. Yeah. So the form is like that. And just at that simple level, we've taught a lot of people actually how to understand the absence of unnecessary tension. If you grab it tight, yeah, the form stays the same pretty much, but there's a load of tension in there that is unnecessary. Yeah. If you gradually relax that internally, and I don't need to explain to anybody how to do that, you just relax it internally, the form stays the same, but the tension in the fascia and the muscles and the ligaments releases, but the form stays the same. But you don't want to get to the point where you begin to relax it so much that the form begins to collapse. So fundamentally, it's about having structure without unnecessary tension. And that's in the body, yeah, but it also can happen in the mind. So Tim and I, unfortunately, are teaching some classes later, which is why we're not going to be able to stick around so long. But I'm just going to take you through just applying that, yeah. I mean, I won't do it, you will do it, but it's basically applying that to Wuji, yeah, the fundamental stance. So I'm going to stand up. You can stand up as well if you want to. And so it can seem like it's not very much, really. We laugh with people and we say, you know, at the end of a level 1 course with us, which is about 12 weeks, you will end up with less than you came with, yeah, which is not a great marketing strategy, really, in the main, but it's actually fundamental stuff. You'll end up with less tension in your body and your mind, and as a result, naturally, even if you don't do Qigong, your energy will flow better. So we practice a thing called Shaolin Cosmos Qigong. It's got Zen Buddhist roots, but the people who practiced it over the years, there were also Taoist practitioners who brought an element of Taoism, but it's fundamentally a Zen practice. So it's very direct, simple. So our Wuji stance is about, the feet are about a fist width apart. You don't need to measure that, but if we're standing with our feet wide apart, what our experience is that builds energy, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if we're getting beginners to want to be able to generate an energy flow, we find that it's quite helpful to stand with feet fairly close together, yeah? And the feet are parallel, not splayed out, yeah? So they're parallel. So we get people to go through a kind of pilot's checklist, because what we say to them is a pilot has a checklist that they go through, And then when they start flying, they don't have to worry about it because they've done the checklist already. And that's what we want to help people to do with Qigong. It's like, no, you have a checklist at the beginning. Look, are my feet, fairly close together? Are they parallel? Yeah, great. Okay, now I don't have to think about that anymore. The next thing is, and people will talk about this, is you want your knees off lock, which isn't bent, yeah, but it's off lock. It's like that, not rigid structure, but not a collapsed structure. It's just off lock. And people say, how do I know if my knees are off lock? Well, if you're standing there and you can push your knees back further, then they weren't locked out before, yeah? So you can just go back to where you were. If you can't push them back any further forward, let them come forward a little bit. With the waist, you can just allow it, you can play with your waist. You keep your head and your feet in the same place, but you allow your waist to come backwards and forwards, yeah? And what you'll notice is that the weight distribution will change on your feet, yeah? And what you want is you want to get it so that your waist is in that place where you can feel the weight distributed on your balls of your feet and on the heels. So none of these things do you have to worry about, yeah? Our Sifu used to make me laugh. He used to say, look, if I don't mention anything, you don't need to worry about it, yeah? But if I do mention anything, you don't need to worry about that either, which always used to make me chuckle. So you don't need to worry about these things, but it's a checklist at the beginning. Okay, am I standing in a way that minimizes the things that would get in the way of energy flow? So then with your hands, you just bring your hands to the sides. You don't need to move your shoulders or anything. You just bring your hands to the sides. And you want your hands to be extended, yeah? Again, you don't want them to be rigid and locked out, but you don't want them to be crabbed up either, because that is collapsed. So the hands are they're just extended like that. If you remember back to what you were doing here, it's the same thing, yeah? I keep my hands still, but gradually and over time, I develop an absence of unnecessary tension. I can play with that in my hands, yeah? Gradually, I can play with that in my entire body. So that I'm now just standing, uprighting, and relaxing. Why do we call it uprighting? The danger is if we call it upright, people stand very upright and they don't allow themselves to move, yeah? Whereas uprighting is constantly moving, yeah? You see, if you stand there and don't do anything, in a human being, there are still a whole load of natural and spontaneous things occurring that you don't want to stop, like your heart, yeah, or your breathing, yeah? As a human being, and now I'm standing here, I'm not doing anything at all, actually. The me that thinks it's me is not doing anything at all. But there are natural and spontaneous processes, which are energetic processes like your lungs and your heart and your immune system, and you just want to let them carry on. And one of the things that our body will do, if you gently close your eyes and you don't inhibit your ankles or your knees or your waist, often you'll start to notice a bit of wobbling about happening. Which sometimes, if people are not guided into this, they can think, oh my God, I'm thoroughly unstable. I'm a thoroughly unstable physical process, yeah? But of course, that's not true, actually, yeah? This is a beautifully, flowingly still, yeah? Living being, yeah? Just wobbling about. We had a student who used to call it a wobbly meditation, yeah? So that's why we call it uprighting and relaxing. So you can allow the breath to come in through the nose and out through the mouth. And you can allow all of those natural and spontaneous processes that are occurring within your being just to carry on. The function of neuroplasticity, where brains constantly rewire themselves, you don't have to get involved in that, it's happening anyway. The process of breathing, it just occurs on its own. The heartbeat moving the blood through the entire system. These are not mystical or magical things, they're just things that are happening all of the time. And what I'm going to invite you to do is just gently, even if you don't know how to do this, just pretend that you do. Just allow yourself just to smile from the heart, yeah? Allow yourself to smile from the heart and just see what that's like, yeah? If you notice that you wobble about a little bit more, or you chuckle, or you cry, or whatever it is, yeah? Just celebrate the fact that there's energy flowing, yeah? Stuff is occurring. And out of that, all of those myriad of processes, there is the epiphenomenon that I like to think of myself as me, yeah? So I can just enjoy that for a moment without having to do anything with it or about it. Just enjoying, literally, energy flow, flow of life. Very good. Now, this is a great way to start any Qigong practice, because already you have energy flowing. Everything, now the mind wants to move the body. You don't even need, the body doesn't need to move. Its energy just will allow the body to move, yeah? So it's a great way to start any Qigong practice. But now also it's useful to know how to slow the energy down to, if you like, everyday, because that can really speed the energy up, actually, get energy flowing. Yeah? So now we just allow energy just to slow down and collect. And you do that in our tradition by just having a brief and gentle thought of an area of the body that is roughly 2 to 3 inches below the belly button, 2 to 3 inches inside the body. And just allow everything to come to relative stillness. Allow the body just to gently and gradually slow down. The emphasis here is on enjoying the process of stillnessing. And obviously you can enjoy that for a few minutes. But today, we're going to move on to what Tim's going to go through. So just have another brief and gentle thought of the Dantian. Again, that lower Dantian. 2 to 3 inches below the belly button, 2 to 3 inches inside the body. And then rub your hands together. Good. Just rub your face and your head. Good. Have a wobbly walk around the room and then just come back and have a seat. And I will pass across to my compadre, Mr. Tim Franklin. Sometimes it does appear, actually, when he goes off to fill up his thing, that he's merged into the cosmos. And I do wonder sometimes where he's gone. But then I realize he's just filling up his fire. So I'll pass across to Tim.
You know, I wonder the same thing, Barry, if I've just merged into the cosmos or just merged into the fire. It's quite cold where we are at the moment. And so this fire in my room here helps to keep the place warm. And when you're practicing your Qigong, you don't want to have to do anything extra already to get your Qi circulating. There's no tough person approach to our Qigong. And so if you're cold, get yourself warm before you do your Qigong, and then that means your Qi doesn't have to work so hard for you as well. So welcome, I'm Tim Franklin from Fully Alive, and welcome to OneQi. Barry's already introduced. Nicola's done a beautiful session as well, and you're going to have Jeremy's session, and there's lots of other people that have introduced their Qigong through the OneQi platform. And OneQi is something that I became quite excited about, actually, when it was first, well, when we first got approached about joining it. And the reason for that is because we get to share our passion for Qigong. I mean, we love Qigong. Barry and I have been teaching Qigong for many years, practicing for many years, and we get such a joy out of seeing other people getting the benefit out of practicing Qigong. And so we never used to teach online. Everything was done face to face. That was just the way that Qigong was practiced. Lockdown came in. This thing called Zoom got given to us as a, hey, you know, guys, please carry on teaching. We like your stuff, so can you come online? And we said, yeah, we'll see how it is. But our own teacher wasn't keen on online teaching. He thought it was something very much in a tradition, the Shaolin tradition, had to be passed from teacher to student, had to be done face to face, and the student needed to be sort of guided through this process, guided through this journey of the Qi journey, the Qigong journey, the unfolding and releasing of tensions, as well as the physical, emotional, and spiritual development. So we didn't know how well that was going to turn out online. As it happened, actually, it is possible to teach Qigong online, and people across the world, not just through Barry and myself, but through the other teachers here as well, have had tremendous benefits from that. So it's one of the blessings that have come out of the lockdowns is the ability to reach more people. And OneQi is another way of doing that. It's a place where teachers that love what they do can come and share their Qigong, their way that they teach and their passion for Qigong. And it's a way for students, new or old or returning back to Qigong, whether or not that's for health, overcoming illness or increasing vitality or cultivation, or just because it sounds like a good fun thing to do. And it is. Qigong is a good fun thing to do. And so OneQi is a way for you to come and experience that. But also, even if you've been teaching for a lot of years, this is a place to come from or come to where a bunch of people are getting together and openly sharing. Now, there's not many systems that I know that actually do that open-heartedly, open-mindedly, because I come from a martial art background. Before I came into Qigong, I started martial arts when I was a kid, into my teenage years, into fighting. And when you're in martial arts, you're in your school, everybody else is the enemy. If they're not practicing your type of martial arts, they're doing it wrong. So of course, there can be this mentality in many places, in many sectors really, that if it's not the way that you're doing it, then it's not the right way. Well, OneQi isn't about that. OneQi is about our love for Qi, our love for energy practices, and our love for what that brings to the practitioner, which is increased health and vitality and happiness, as Barry was saying as well. And you can get that from any of the teachers. So a bit of background on myself. Barry and I met through our Shaolin Grandmaster OneQi kit in our school. I came into our school through the martial arts, not through the Qigong, first of all, but Qigong is an integral part of martial arts training, and it was also a separate part. So there was Qigong for people that wanted to do it for health and vitality. There was Qigong for people that wanted to do the martial arts side for developing more energy, more force, more focus, and be able to apply that to the martial arts. And that was including Tai Chi. So there's Shaolin Kung Fu and the Tai Chi. And then there was Qigong for the health and vitality. And our teacher's passion for the arts, the Shaolin arts, he had been introduced to it when he was, I think, 7 or 8 years old. He's now in his 70s. And he started with Kung Fu. So Kung Fu was his baby. It was his love. It was his passion. And so I got that. I was like, that's what I wanted. But then he realized as well that the world didn't really need Kung Fu as much as it needed healing. That it needed health and vitality, and he really wanted to share that with the world, and that's how we came to be introduced to it, and also be able to teach this and pass this on as well. And so the aim for Fully Alive is to be able to what Barry and I were talking about is create a healthier, happier, and safer place for our children and grandchildren and anyone else that comes into contact with this. This is what we set out to do. And over the years, we've realized the benefits that Qigong can have on all sorts of people. You don't have to be interested in martial arts. You don't have to be interested in spiritual cultivation to get the benefits of Qigong. You just need to want to do something that is going to enhance your health and enjoyment of life. So our teacher would say, Qigong shouldn't be there as like a slave. You shouldn't be a slave to your Qigong. It should be there to enrich your life. And so if you can do anything that enriches your life without bringing harm to yourself or other people, then you're already on track for something good. And in OneQi, we've got such a beautiful array of teachers sharing their passion that you're going to have lots of different ways of experiencing that, and also just learning something that you might really connect to. And so Qigong, as Barry said, it's the skill in using energy, but Qigong is like saying sports. So if somebody comes to us and say, hey, I want to learn Qigong, it's like, okay, why? Why do you want to learn Qigong? You know, if I was a sports teacher and somebody says, I want to learn sports, good. What sports do you want to learn? Why do you want to learn the sports? Well, you know, I want to be fit. Good, okay. How do you want to be fit? How do you want to apply that to your life? Where do you want to start in? What interests you? And so Qigong can be like that. There's lots of beautiful systems that came out or emerged out of that, the realization that if you work with the body and the mind and your energy, that suddenly things start happening. If you just work with the body, you limit yourself. If you just work with the mind, you also limit yourself. If you work with the body, the mind, and the energy, then you've got what was in our school and probably other traditions as well. It's called the triple cultivation. The triple cultivation is the Jing, Qi, and Shen. The Jing, the body, the Shen, the mind and the spirit, and the Qi, the energy. And that's what we're teaching people how to do that. Our teacher made that really simple for us in the way that there's cleansing, building, and nourishing, as Barry mentioned as well. You're always cleansing, building, and nourishing. It's just that some of your exercises are going to be more on building and some more on cleansing and some more on nourishing, depending on the exercise you do, or the breathing exercises that you do, or your intention as well that you set when you're doing your practice. So you might have different reasons and intentions for coming to your practice. And for the teachers here as well, they will have already a practice for themselves that they rely on, that they do every day, and it becomes part of really the fabric of their being, as it has for us. Qigong isn't just something that we like to do, although we do like to do Qigong. It becomes something that we almost are. So Qigong is something that becomes a deep fabric of the way of our being. And by the way, a way of being is part of the Qigong practice as well. So Barry's beautifully introduced you to the simplicity of Wuji. Wuji in terms of neutrally stacking the body with the absence of unnecessary tension to the point where energy can flow freely without you having to really do anything at all, which can sound wonderful, but also confusing. So, well, how do I do nothing really at all and energy will then flow. Because surely, if I was standing in a queue at the bank or in a shop or something, or a bus stop, my energy would just flow and I would already be doing Qigong. Whereas for the majority of people, that's not the case. So there's obviously something missing. It's not just standing still and doing nothing. There has to be a mind element to it as well. And so part of the mind element, and Barry's pointed at it and sort of dipped you into it a little bit there, is what's called entering a Qigong state of mind. And the way that we would taught the Qigong is first enter a Qigong state of mind. And if you go back to the Taoist roots of Tai Chi, of Jansen Fung, who was apparently the originator of Tai Chi. We won't get into the argument or discussion of that because there's lots of historians of Qigong and Kung Fu and Tai Chi that love to argue that point. And frankly, I don't really care. The main point is the benefits that come out of the practice. Keep coming back to that, by the way, the benefits that come out of your practice, not whether or not something's true or not. So you'll know if it's true when you do the practice. But there was a treatise that was written. And this is back in the 13th, 14th century. And the treatise for the Tai Chi by Jansen Fung says, first enter the way, stabilize nature, accumulate energy, nourish the heart and train the spirit. And much of the Qigong practice, the Shaolin Cosmos Qigong practice that came through our school was influenced by this very early teaching, together with the teachings that came out from Bodhidharma, who was this Indian prince that came across to China to teach Zen. But it was far too simple for anybody to really get. So it got broken down into some other systems and ways and methods and techniques. And so that's what we do. We teach you some of these techniques, and these techniques are going to lead to a skill. That skill is the skill of being able to generate an energy flow and then consciously work with that flow of energy as well, and then practice something called stillness. But we call it stillnessing because we like to make up lots of words in Fully Alive just to help people with really what it is, which is a process of practice rather than a thing. Because if you try and do stillness as a thing, it starts to confuse the mind a little bit, or you try and do it. So stillnessing makes things far more easy, just like flowing does, and enjoying. So we're going to do a practice of enjoying, flowing, and then stillnessing as well. And I'm going to give you a Qigong pattern, something that Barry and I love to teach. It's called Beautiful Butterfly Dances in Front of Flower. So why this one? One, it's simple to practice. Two, it opens up the heart and the lungs, which, let's face it, at this time of confusion and difficulty in the world as it is at the moment, we could all do with a little bit more of that. It helps energy to flow. It increases the vitality, increases our enjoyment of self and life, and it can increase the immune system as well as clearing things out in the systems as well. I think that's probably a good enough reason to practice Beautiful Butterfly. So we're going to do that. And then I'm going to take you back to the beginning of the practice that Barry was teaching. And then we'll put it all together as a whole practice. Or what we'll do is a whole Qigong practice. So your feet can be in the Wuji stance that we practiced earlier, about a fist width apart and parallel. And just have the weight distributed over the whole of the feet so you're not leaning backwards or forwards. And I'll show you the exercise first of all and then follow me as well. So that way you won't, as Nicola kindly pointed out, you won't have to crick your neck in trying to follow me with what I do. You can watch first of all and then follow. So this is the exercise. First of all, I'll just go down to about knee level. So I'm not trying to touch my toes or stretch. And then the body comes up as the arms unfold. So I'm now looking up. And then I bring the body up. So I'm now looking forwards, turn the hands over, and then the hands come down to the sides of the body like this. So not pressed against the body, just loosely at the side of the body, but not collapsed. So we do that together now. So the first movement is just coming forwards. So you're about knee level. So if you see from the side, as I come forwards, everything is open here. I'm not collapsing my body or my back. So just do this movement first of all before you do the whole thing like this. This is similar to another exercise which we do called fish flip. So just do this first of all so you can get used to what it feels like to very gently and smoothly move with the increased absence of unnecessary tension, but also the increase in absence of unnecessary efforting. I work as a therapist as well, and over the last 20 odd years of seeing people in the clinic, one of the things that I noticed and has come very apparent over the years is that people effort far too much than they need to. They do far more than they really need to, and then wonder why the body stops working in the way that it can, or that they're now suffering from overload or overwhelm or stress. And one of the things is because we effort too much. So this really is just the introduction so that you can get used to what it's like not to effort. So now from here, just bring the arms out so that they're open and you're gently looking up. You're not trying to bend backwards like a pretzel, you're just looking up. Carry on breathing, by the way. And you can hear me when I'm looking up and talking. It hasn't really affected my voice too much, but if I strain too much, then it does. So don't strain here. Then bring the body upright, turn the hands over, and let the hands come down. We will add some breathing into this as well that coordinates, but for now, just get used to beautifully and gently, like a butterfly would, opening, and then just coming back to rest like this. So down, opening, bringing the body upright, and then rest. So there's pauses in these movements. Well, pauses are really important in Qigong. Helps the energy circulate and organize itself, cells organize itself, and the body to reset as well. And pauses aren't then you holding your breath, but they're just pauses in movement and natural pause between in-breath and out-breath. So don't go down too low. This needs to be just to the knee. Often when we say that, and obviously we won't be able to see the people that are watching this as a recording, something then happens which is in some ways a bit odd, but it does happen a lot. People say, yeah, but surely it'd be better if I stretch all the way down and then I bend all the way back, because I get a much better stretch when I do that. And then they make the common mistake, which is turning a Qigong exercise, which is an energy exercise, into a stretching exercise, which it's not. Qigong is an energy exercise that happens to have form, movement, and breath. But it is the skill in using energy, not the skill in stretching. Otherwise, Qigong would be called the skill in stretching, and that's something different. So, bring the body upright, coming down. Okay, so we're going to coordinate the breath now as well. So when we come down, you're neither breathing in nor out. So just see what that feels like. You would have already done your natural breathing when you're standing in Wuji. And then as you come down, neither breathe in nor out. And then as you come up with the arms spreading, breathe in. Pause the movement and breath. And now breathe out through the mouth and let the hands come down to the sides of the body. Now, if at this point you need to take another breath in and out, just do that. Don't create unnecessary tensions in your breath and lungs. But once you start flowing with this, you won't need to really take a breath in nor out when you do this either. Okay? So this will make sense as you do this. So breathe in as you come up, pause, and then breathe out with a ah. Then the arms come down. So you can take a breath in and out if you need to there. Come down, breathe in, and then and then come down again. And the the sound is a bit like a sigh. That's one of our natural releases in the body, actually. It's like if you're a bit peed off about something or somebody, you go, we let this natural sigh out as a release of tension in the body. Well, we're purposely doing that at the moment. We're going to do the so you actually have that sound of a and that is an invitation to release anything that's unuseful, known or unknown in your systems or psyche at the moment. Okay, so where it is in the mind, the body, in your life, or in the future or in the past, it doesn't really matter. Just let that release. Let that release. So we're going to go from here to breathing in. And then let the hands come down, breathing in, down. And we're going to speed it up a little bit now. Breathing in, down. Breathing in, breathing out. Okay, carry on doing this, breathing in, breathing out. And do it one more time, breathing in, and then breathe it out. Let the hands come to the sides of the body. Just close your eyes, allow the mouth to be gently open. And then don't purposely tense your muscles or try and stop anything from happening. Allow your ankles and your knees and your waist and your spine, your body and your mind, just to be gently relaxing and enjoying. Remember, a big part of Qigong is to enjoy your practice. And part of that enjoying is not worrying or overthinking anything or analyzing or measuring. We're just enjoying the wonderful practice of Qigong. And so just allowing any movement or energy to flow. And then we'll have a brief and gentle thought of the area roughly 2-3 inches below the navel, 2-3 inches in. The Qi high, Dantian. And just enjoying stillness for a moment. We're going to put everything together in a few moments. Just enjoying stillness. And then bring your palms together, rub your palms together to warm the arms. If you remember Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi, this isn't it. Tap the eyes and then massage around your face and your head. You can message your head as well if you like, but this is actually a facial massage. Good, and then shake off. Walk around the room. Walking around the room at the end of the Qigong is a useful way of spreading the energy around the body and also bringing you gently back to the here and now. So Qigong has a beginning, a middle, and an end. At the beginning of the Shaolin Cosmos Qigong practice, we enter a Qigong state of mind and smile from the heart. And then we're going to do a Qigong pattern, or sometimes it's patterns, to generate an energy flow. And then we're going to enjoy that energy flow and then come to stillness at the end. So we're going to put all of that together now. So just find the place in your room where you've got a bit of space around you as well if you can, because once energy starts flowing, it can flow quite vigorously. And when energy flows quite vigorously, you might find yourself moving or flowing around the space in which you're practicing your Qigong. And if and when that happens, the thing not to do is tense the body or tense up. But just allow the energy to flow and see what happens as well. If at any time energy is flowing too vigorous for you, have a brief and gentle thought of that energy center, the Qi high, and a gentle thought of energy and movement slowing down. And energy follows thought. So where your mind goes, the energy will flow. And if you think about gently slowing down, you will gently slow down. So don't abruptly slow down, because that can lock the energy in. So let's start with Wuji. Feet close together and parallel. Knees not jammed back. Hands gently relaxed at the sides of the body, but your fingers pointing downwards. So you're in this uprighting position where the top of your head, byway, is in line with the center of the body, the heart center, in line with the chi high as well. You don't have to think or worry about that or get any measuring tape out, but just standing the best that you can, not leaning forwards or backwards. So the weight's over the whole of the feet. And now close the eyes, having the eyes gently closed, the mouth gently open rather than closed. Eyes closed, mouth gently open. And just notice the feet. And then invite the muscles and the tendons and the joints in the feet to just gently relax. It's an invitation for the body just to release any unnecessary tension. Allow the ankles to loosen and unlock. They do so much work in stabilizing this body that really isn't designed to be standing up for long periods of time. So when we get energy flowing through the body, this helps any stuckness or blockages that come about through tensions. Allow the muscles in the legs and the knees and the thighs to relax. And the buttocks, the hips, and the lower back, especially the lower back and the buttocks. A lot of tension is held in this area. One of the problems of being an upright human being is the lower back problems that often develop for a lot of people. So not fixing yourself, but allowing yourself to gently flow and sway is one way of getting energy flowing to all areas of the body rather than stagnating. So just allowing yourself to just gently move and sway if that's what happens, but not stopping it happening either. Not fixing or locking any joints, and inviting then the muscles in the stomach, chest and the ribs, the middle and the upper back, just to be enjoying, relaxing. The emphasis on enjoying. The arms and the hands, throat, the neck, the muscles in the face and the head, top of the head, the whole of the body, just enjoying, relaxing, and gently swaying like a gentle breeze and a swaying willow. And then smile from the heart. And if you want to express joy on the face or in the body or as a feeling, you can do that. You don't have to. If you want to allow that joy just to spread out beyond you, you can do that as well. But you don't have to. Just enjoying smiling from the heart. And now from here, we're going to do beautiful butterfly. So coming down to the knees, breathing in as the arms come out. Just letting go. Arms come down to the sides of the body. Down, breathing in. Just letting go and releasing. Arms come down. Down, breathing in. Arms come down. Just allow that to move and speed up now a little bit more as well at your own pace. Just releasing each time, taking that opportunity of the releasing sound and breath, just to let anything go. It doesn't matter what it is. Just letting it go. And if you find that you're moving off the spot as well, and energy is flowing as you're doing this, you don't have to fix yourself to where you're staying. You can allow your feet to move. You can allow your body to wobble. You can allow things to flow. That is chi flow. That is energy flow. That is literally life flowing through your body. So just allow now a few more times this movement and breath and sound to happen. And in a moment, we're going to finish the movement of the beautiful butterfly. And then there's an invitation just to let go. That means not having to hold on to anything or any way of standing, moving, or being anymore. You are free to flow however your body flows without any need to think about how that happens. So just one more time now. And then, as you release, eyes closed, mouth gently open, just let go. Just let your energy flow however that flows, whether or not that's gentle movement in the body, stillness, or vigorous flow. Just enjoy energy, life flowing through you. And in this process of qi flow, tensions are released. Things are cleared in the body. This is where the body systems are able to remedy itself in energy flowing. So just enjoy that energy flow. You don't have to bring any meaning to it or anything else, just enjoying energy flowing. And in a standard 15-minute Shaolin Cosmos Qigong practice, we would allow the energy to flow maybe for 5 minutes or so. So when you're practicing this at home, you can spend some time allowing your energy to flow without bringing in any purposeful thinking. Any thoughts that think themselves, just let them do what they do. The cortex is just going to be working in the background anyway, just as your other systems are. But we don't have to stop them doing what they do. Just allow them to do what they do. At the same time, just allowing yourself to enjoy energy flowing. And now, have a brief and gentle thought of that area, roughly 2-3 inches below the navel, 2-3 inches in, allowing yourself to gently slow down to a gentle stop, returning to that Wuji stance, that narrow Wuji stance, standing uprighting and relaxing. Return back to where we began. But now things are different. Body's different, mind's different, energy different. And now just enjoying stillnessing. And as an invitation, if you have a particular health issue or complaint, just visualize being free from that. What that would be like, just to be free from that thing. If you're experiencing a challenge or difficulty in your life right now, just bring to mind or feeling or imagine being free of that, so that there is an absence of unnecessary tension in all your systems, body and mind, where energy can flow freely and abundantly. So you can both enjoy life with health, vitality, and happiness. And then have a brief and gentle thought of the air of the dantian again, the air roughly 2-3 inches below the navel. Rub your palms together, dab the eyes, massage around the face and the head, and then have a wander around the room. Good, and then you can come back and sit down. So I love teaching Qigong. It's such a pleasure to be able to bring Qigong to the world. We're all so lucky, every one of us teachers that have either by design or stumbled into Qigong and then ended up teaching it is very blessed. To be able to pass on something to others where it brings about this much benefit for relatively very little. As in, we don't really do much in Qigong, do we? We stand, we relax, we smile, we let our energy flow, and we enjoy life flowing through us. That's it. It keeps it really easy and keeps it really simple. But it's such a pleasure teaching this. And as Jeremy said, there's a connection between all the ways that Qigong is taught. We may have different techniques, we may have different approaches, but there's one Qi. Yeah, there's one Qi, and that one Qi is that we're working on energy for you, as in you're working on your energy, we're sharing with you ways of working with that energy to increase your health, vitality, and happiness as well. So it doesn't matter what techniques that you use, whatever works for you, whatever you warm to, whoever you warm to, there's going to be a lot of teachers that come through OneQi, and hopefully more and more people, more and more teachers and more students will use this as a platform to discover Qigong and use Qigong as a way to help them with whatever it is that they need in their everyday life. So please do use this resource. If one teacher's not what you are looking for, try another teacher and then come back to the other teacher another time. Because what we find is that at different times in our life, we need different things, hear different things, and are ready to accept different things as well. So keep coming back, use this as your resource, as your platform, and we will be back with the other teachers again and again to share our passion for Qigong. So thanks very much for joining Barry and myself. Fully Alive is who we are, not to be mixed up with the pop group or the design place. But if you look up Shaolin-training.com, you will find Fully Alive. But on Facebook, we are Fully Alive, or Fully-Alive Arts, I think. But otherwise, you can get in touch, info@fullyalive.co, no UK or .com on that, or through OneQi, and you will find us somehow, somewhere. Normally people, Barry and I laugh about this because we don't really market or advertise. People, like the rest of the teachers, often people gravitate towards you at the right time. And so, yeah, I'm not quite sure the best place to point you towards, but that's there's a few places probably to find us anyway. So, yeah, enjoy the rest of these sessions. Thank you very much indeed, Jeremy. Thank you, Nicola, for sharing as well. I'll be catching up on the other videos later on and pass over to Jeremy.